I know some of you guys have been wondering where this Monster Sportsman 570's been, and she's right here. We're going to get started on it today. This thing is a monster, like I said. I'll just go over it real quick before we get to what we're doing today. This thing has 34-inch Super ATV Assassinator tires on it. You can see they're huge. It's got drop-down Super ATV GDP portals, which gives it a gear reduction. You got the arched A-arms, the Rhino brand axles, radiator relocator kit, snorkels, but we are missing an engine. And there's a good reason for that. I ended up pulling the engine out. The owner sunk this, took on water, and it did a lot of damage. Let's go check it out. So here's our part. As you can see, the oil pan, there's a lot of sludge we need to clean out of there. Grab our piston. The side skirt has worn down a lot. Cylinder, same thing. Not sure if you can see in there good or not. Grab a flashlight. As you can see, we definitely have some scarring right here and on that side. Luckily, the cylinder head is actually good. One of the biggest problems, though, is right here. You can see the connecting rod get very warm, and that's not good. So when the owner of this brought it to me, this machine did not run. It wouldn't turn over. He had just had the top end rebuilt, new cylinder and piston, and by the looks of it, it was definitely new not long ago. Compared to the rest of the engine was so filthy. Those were actually fairly clean though. But he brought it to me, non-running. I went and checked. I found the starter was bad. It was bound up. Put a used starter on it that I had, and it turned over, and it did start. It took a while to start, and it would just idle. It actually, I couldn't hear any knocking, surprisingly, but you give it a little throttle, and then you could hear a little knocking, and it would just die out. Obviously, we found out why when I tore that engine down. That connecting rod was so far gone, it was just creating so much friction. But yeah, so we got a pile of new parts to throw in this thing. We're going to be rebuilding that engine today. So we got a complete gasket kit right here. A brand new Polaris branded cylinder right there. Hot rods crank main bearings. Wisco or Wisco piston. And a brand new hot rods crankshaft assembly. So we got some work to do. Let's get started. The very first thing I need to do is go ahead and clean all these parts off. I guess I got one thing to do before I start cleaning this, and that is to remove the crank. We'll bring her on over to the press. Sure we got enough room here. Oh. And yes, I know the press wasn't here a minute ago. It was in the back portion of this building. It's just, I'm always, that needs a good cleaning. A real good cleaning out there. It's just full of junk. But I've had this back there. Figured I finally get this opened up a little bit. Might as well pull the press out because I use this thing all the time. Almost there. I'm on. Don't make me shim you another time. Might have to. Yeah, I do. It's almost out of there. I'll throw another piece of wood in there. Should be able to pop right out of there now. Got plenty of room. Just like that. And our crankshaft that severely needs a connecting rod. Now I come over here, pull the bearing out. Thread our slide hammer in there. Probably going to be loud. Just like that. These things are a lifesaver. And then the bearing will slide right out of there. Remove these two main crank bearings. There goes one. Then our center spacer. We need to keep that. We don't need to keep these bearings though. That one out of there. Well, now I can go ahead and clean the stuff up. Oh, drain pan. Go ahead and use some engine degreaser. Let it soak for a while because this, like I said, is very bad. Some of this is just dirt, but a lot of it is crusted on oil, grease, and that stuff comes off pretty hard. So we're going to let this soak for a little bit, and I'll give her a good cleaning. I'm going to work it in there a little bit. This thing will look like new here in a minute. Not really, but it'll look a lot better than it did. There won't be a bunch of junk on it. While that side's soaking, I'm going to come over here and remove these bearings as well on this side of the case. Get the clip out of there. Some of you guys on past videos were asking where I got these retaining clip pliers. I'll leave a link down below and you can check them out. They're fairly cheap. Alright, this one I need to move up my holder here. Looks good. There's that bearing. This out of here. We got to remove this plain bearing that's in here. Now we can see we're off, so we got to move this. I always want to go as center as you can. That is on there. Just like that. Plain bearing is out. You can see this thing took a beating, some heavy scarring on it. That's why we're getting a new one on there. But we gotta clean the case up first. Go ahead and pull this one out of here and soak this one. There we go. That is as clean as these things are gonna get. I mean, this stuff is just baked right on there. I mean, it's just pretty much dyed the aluminum on the casing. I got it pretty as clean as I can get it, but it's not gonna look great, but at least it's somewhat clean. I mean, the oil and grease is off there. So let's start getting this thing back together. Start installing stuff in this case. Right, now that we get the oil pressure regulator in there, we can go ahead and put our bearings in. We're going to bring our engine case over, install our plain bearing first. I mean, it doesn't matter which one you install, but that's what I'm doing first. Go ahead and line that up. Get it as straight as we can. she goes. We just want to go as far as the other one was. Now we'll install our new ball bearing. Go ahead and get this pressed in here. New bearings. Now we can take the other crankcase. We'll put our new crank balancer bearing in first. There we go. There's that one. Alright, now go ahead and grab our new hot rods main bearing. Hot rods. Throw that on there. Alright, go ahead and we want this nice and level with the case. That's as far as we want to go with that. There we go. We can take our case, throw our plate on, crank bearing holder bolts, right there. That is why I label everything. Makes it much easier when you got to put everything back together. Little Loctite on them bolts. Now we flip it over and do the other side. Put our spacer in. New bearing, hot rods. I'll go ahead and put this retaining ring in place. Get in there, make sure it snaps in. Well, we're ready to install the new crankshaft into the crankcase here. Some of you might, this is the old crankshaft, some of you might be wondering, why didn't you just rebuild this one with a new connecting rod and pin? You'd be all set. You'd have an OEM crank. Well, I'll show you the main reason I did not do that. So right here on this journal, for that plain bearing, it just wore it right out. So it's really, I mean, you could have that machine, go with the oversized bushing, but you at that point, between that, the connecting rod, you're better off just buying another crankshaft. So that's what we did. We got the new hot rods crank. Open her up. Some stickers. All right, crank just get out of the freezer. We're gonna heat the bearing up a little bit. Open this up. Put oil on the shaft. She's cold. She is cold. That's how we want it. Slide in there nice and easy. We'll see. There we go. All right. Just like this. Beautiful. She's in there. Pushed it in all the way. It's exactly where it needs to be. So yeah, I had to do that real quick, so I couldn't really talk too much about it, but that's the side that's a press fit. It's a light press fit, but it's still a press fit. This side slides right onto that plain bearing nice and easy, so this side you don't have to worry about. But yep, beautiful. Now I could have used my crank puller to pull that in through the case, but If you got a little bit of time, it's a lot easier just to freeze that crank and push it in. Works nice. Oil on the bearings. I did put some on the crank bearing as well. So now we can go ahead and install our crankshaft balancer gear. These have to be lined up, this little dot with this one, right there. These are the marks you want to line up right here. 2 on the crankshaft and 1 on the counterbalancer. You can also double check by rotating this and you'll see little pinholes are lined up as well. But yeah. And that is where this needs to be balanced. We are actually done with this side of the crankcase right now. We can move on to the other side. A little oil on the bearings. Want to put some oil on the plain bearing as well. Now on these hot rod cranks, you do have to install the oil pump jet, they call it. It's a little set screw type thing that goes inside this crank. It does not come with it. You have to pull it off of your original OEM Polaris crank and thread it in there. You can do that after, you can do it now, just don't forget to do it. You will not have good oil pressure going through there. So we are ready to clean up the case, slap some case sealer on there. Took everything off with a razor blade. I'm still going to go ahead and just make sure there's no oil residue on there. Just go around both cases. I use Bond. You can use whatever you want, Ultra Gray, Honda Bond, any crank sealer will work. I just like the, I'm used to the Bond 4. I'm used to that. I'm used to the consistency. I tried Honda Bond for a while. I didn't care for it. It's too stringy. I still got some. I use it every now and then. But, you know, when you touch it, it just leaves a string. I don't like it. I don't like it. I like Bond, so we're going to keep using that. So we're just going to do a thin layer on each side. Now there was never a gasket here. This is how it comes from the factory with a case sealer. A lot of engines are like this. There's actually very few that have a gasket in between the crankcases. Can-Am does on their Rotax engines, or their V-twin series anyways. We even want to seal these 2 little spots down here. Once we get that sealant everywhere, double check, make sure you get all your edges. Everything's nice, looks good. Go ahead and throw this back together. I'm going to go ahead and wipe out some of this oil so it doesn't get on my sealant when I go put it together. Now we can put these 2 halves together. Like I said, this side is not a press fit at all. Just goes on nice and easy. Go ahead. Just tap it in there by hand. Or a rubber mallet, whatever you want to use. Don't use a metal hammer, obviously, but make sure things rotate smoothly. They do. Grab our crankcase bolts. These on out of here. Long ones together. And then the short ones. Obviously the long ones are going to be easy to remember. You can see right here. If you wanted to check, you could just take this, and obviously it doesn't go down very far on the short holes. Right there. And now we can put the shorter bolts in. And then we're going to torque this to 22 foot-pounds. Gently crank these in. I don't want to tighten them. Just save you a little time. Wind picking up out there. Oh, that feels good. Pretty warm in here today. So we do want to do this in sequence. We want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just keep crisscrossing until you get them all torqued to 22 foot-pounds. Now that we got that done, we can move on. So we might as well go ahead and finish up this crank. I'll put that in. First we're going to put the crank seal in. Now these are already pre-greased on the inside. I'm sure you can see that. We just want to make sure everything's clean. The outer surface here, the crank, everything. And then we can go ahead and put it in. I'm going to tip this up on end because it's easier that way. Everything nice and smooth. That can go right down on there. I like to get it started on that crank first, and then we can hammer it down. The seal, we're looking to get it pretty much flush. Just want to make sure that both the lips are around that shaft there. Once you get that, then you're good to go. Now that we got that done, go ahead and grab the old original crank, 4mm Allen. We'll unscrew that. There it is. That right there, I'm pretty sure you can see, it's like a little jet. It's a set screw with a very small hole inside of it, and that's what allows the oil to go through and give it more pressure. If you don't have that, you're not going to get the oil pressure you're supposed to have, so do not forget that. I'm going to clean this off because I'm going to use some Loctite on it. And this is going to be torqued to 7 foot-pounds. Right there. Next we got our oil pump. Oil where the oil pump goes. We'll assemble the oil pump. So we're going to install this oil pump just like that. Take our washer. That goes in the little recessed area. And then we can install it in here. Just like that. Oil. Throw our cover on. Install our bolts. Want to tighten these by hand and then make sure nothing's binding with your oil pump. Everything's rotating perfectly. That's what we want. Torque these down to 7 foot-pounds as well. Beautiful. Just double check. Good. Make sure we can still rotate that smoothly. I'm going to bring our oil pump chain and sprockets over here. So you have 2 sprockets here. You have a larger one and a smaller one. The larger one's going to mount up on the balance shaft. The smaller one's going to mount on the oil pump. So we can go ahead and put our chain on here. Now our sprocket can go on. Remember the large one up top, smaller one down bottom. A little Loctite. I like my Loctite. I don't want stuff loosening up. Oh, now we can work on the top end. Grab our piston. Nice shiny new. Clips. Stickers. Can't go without stickers. Our new pin. Piston rings. Grab our new cylinder. We're going to want to check our ring end gap first. We'll start with our top ring. The gap should be 0.0059 to 0.0122. Get that in there. I'm thinking that looks around 8 thou. A little more. I cannot, sorry. You guys can't see what I'm doing. 0.013 I can't fit in there. So good there. I'm going to take our lower ring, second ring, install that in the bore, push it down with the piston. We'll check that. I'm going to start right off with the 013. Second ring is up to 0196. That 013 fits right in there, so here's 019. 019 does not fit in there, so we're good there. Now we can get to installing this piston. First off, I'll go ahead and put one circlip in there. Make sure you're clipped in good. Start installing these rings. Put together our oil ring first. Put our second ring in. Our top ring. Whenever there's writing on the rings, that'll go on top. It'll mean it's the top part of that ring. I'm going to throw this on. The arrow points towards the exhaust. This right here is the PTO. This is on the left side of the machine. Exhaust is going out here. You can look at the cylinder head if you need to. These pins are usually pre-lubed, but I like to add more. Yeah, definitely oily. I'll put some right in the connecting rod. Just fit it. Feels good. So I already put one side in, so we have to go on this side. Arrow facing towards the front. Put that in there. Get her all lined up. Just like that. Throw a little paper towel there. Alright. I'd move my hands so you guys could see better, but I really don't want to lose that. They're a little difficult to get in, but make sure they're snapped in all the way. I had somebody that bought a Honda Foreman. Didn't buy it for me. He bought it and he saw my video, so he reached out. He said, "Hey, what do you think could cause this?" He showed me the cylinder, and there was a huge groove going up and down into the cylinder, like that much and deep. And I was like, there's only one thing that could be, and that is the piston pin. Probably this machine had just been rebuilt, I guess. The piston pin circlip must not have ever got installed, or it got installed wrong, not clipped in all the way, and it fell out. And that piston, if I have that video or picture, I think it was just a picture, I'll put it up here, but it went into that cylinder and wore a huge groove into that. That was a brand new rebuild too, unfortunately, but yeah, so don't ever forget that. Poor guy paid, he thought he got a good deal on that machine too, but obviously after he found the issues, wasn't a good deal anymore. All right, we got that piston in there. We're gonna put the rest of the side case on. That on. We can lower this down so nothing's rocking back and forth. Here's the side case. I have not cleaned this up yet, so I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna remove. We do have new ones, so get rid of that and that. We'll go give this a cleaning. We'll put the side cover on now. We still got some stuff to install in here for the timing chains, but it doesn't need to be on there. We just need to do the oil pump for now. We can go ahead and torque these down. Install our base gasket. Make sure we have our piston rings oriented the right way. Even though this is a brand new cylinder out of the package, I'm still going to clean it. Let's see how Polaris cleans their cylinders. I know aftermarket ones I buy do not look great. I'm glad I clean all of them. And same way, still some junk on there, so clean your cylinders. I don't care if you buy Polaris or what, but there's always going to be a little bit of junk. But looks real nice in there. Should. Brand new. I want some oil on the cylinder. Let that get in there. Just spread it all over. We'll keep our rings oriented the proper way here. Is that together? That's what we want right there. Slide her on down. Nice. Leave her at the top. Wipe that excess oil off. We can throw our head gasket on there. That'll go just like that. Cylinder head. Yeah, look at a lot of junk in there. I'll tear that all apart as well. I'm going to say that's a good stopping point for now. I'm going to go ahead, get that head cleaned up, reassemble the engine, and we'll install it, get her running, get her driving on the next episode.